It appears we have a quorum. I will call this meeting of the Industrial Development Board to order. First, would like to acknowledge we have a new board member, Mark Wright, from Councilman O'Connell's district. So, Mark, I won't put you on the spot today, but we'll certainly probably at the next meeting have you share a few words with us, but want to acknowledge you and welcome you to the board. So thank you. I think you'll find that this board is a lot of great folks on this board and folks from different backgrounds, which is outstanding. So we look forward to working with you and welcome. Thank you. First item on the agenda, or next item on the agenda, is the consideration of the minutes from the August 20th meeting. Again, I want to thank all my fellow board members that were in attendance at that meeting. Obviously, that was one of our more lengthy meetings, just due to the amount of items on the agenda, due to the approvals of the incentives. So thank you. With that, I'll give everyone a couple of moments just to review those minutes. We did receive them already, but I'll give a couple moments to allow everyone to review, and then I will entertain motions. Thank you.
So moved on the minutes.
All right. Thank you, Board Member Allen. Any discussion?
Second.
I'm sorry, is there a second? All right.
Second.
Thank you, Board Member Davis. Any discussion?
I just have a question, being a stickler.
Go ahead, Board Member Secretary Forster.
Chairman Hodge, when you asked Ms. Darby to find out about what's the cap was set for operating expenses for the board, didn't you actually mean, was there a maximum fund balance that we were required after a certain point that we were required to turn over to the general fund?
That is correct.
Okay. Do we need to just rephrase that?
Yes, that would probably, just for clarity purposes, that probably would make sense.
Okay, so can you repeat that so I can know what to?
Yep, sorry. So, and I'll let Board Member Forster, so at the end of if you look at the second page of the minutes under financial matters, if you look under the line item, Chairman asked Ms. Darby to find out if a cap was set for operating expenses for the board. Board Member Forster's just saying that, just to clarify, that was, is there a minimum amount that's needed or before we have to turn funds over to Metro, if I'm stating that correctly, what you were trying to say. Does that make sense? All right, thank you. Ms. Darby, can we have an amendment then to the current motion on the floor? Okay. Does anyone want to make an amendment then?
Yes, I will remind you to use your microphones when speaking because we are being recorded and they won't pick up the sound without the microphone.
So I would move that we accept Ms. Forrester's changes to the minutes. Second, needed.
Can you
Second, needed.
all right.
Flash.
Any discussion? All right. Sorry, we're having some. All right, thank you. No discussion. All right, I will. Let's take the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Just speak up.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carried and the minutes are adopted. Thank you. We will now move to our public comment period. if you all will, I'll turn it over to you all to kind of tell us about the project and then take any questions from the board that we have. And again, just a reminder to my fellow board members, this is not something that we need to vote on today. This will come back before us likely at the October board meeting, but this is more just to make sure everyone has an understanding of the project. Thank you. And one of the, and there were some documents included that we received from our economic director related to this as well. And then one item to talk about with this big picture, Central Business Improvement District. There was a lot of infrastructure and road improvements that had to be done for this development, including a diamond interchange, which is really neat if you have not driven over there lately, to improve traffic flow. So anyway, with that, I will turn it over to the developers here. If you all will introduce yourselves, and then certainly I will defer to my board members for any questions that they may have.
Thank you, Chairman. It's Mark McDonald with Oldacre McDonald and my partner, Bill Oldacre. So this project we've been working on this project for 7 years, so we're going to be a 7-year overnight success, I think. We really got the idea from Nashville West, which you made reference to earlier. When we developed Nashville West, people thought there really wasn't a need for that project in West Nashville. We've done about 430 projects in 26 states, and we had a sense that there was really a need for a project like that. And as you may know, I think it was the second or third largest tax revenue generator in the city last year, so it's been a fantastic success. Our wives thought we were crazy when we started it. So we, in Antioch, it's a similar story. It was a very underserved retail market. It was a little bit beat down. The mall had closed, if you'll recall, and it really goes back to Mayor Dean. I ran into Mayor Dean in an airport, was sitting there talking to him about it, and said, we're going to do great things in Antioch, and we're going to invest a lot of money in the Predators practice facility, et cetera. We ultimately used that information and bought the old Target and put a couple of tenants in there, Floor and Decor and Cons, if you've been down there. That building sat empty for a number of years. And we had a number of other retailers that had expressed an interest. So we aggregated 2 large pieces of property, one owned by Lee Beeman and one owned by the Turner family that had been in the family since 1857. And it was 2 ladies that were elderly that wanted to dispose of the family asset in order to be able to distribute the money upon their death. So it was interesting, the sun and the moon and the stars lined up, and we were able to aggregate about 300 acres of property. If you recall, the Hickory Hollow interchange there only went one way, until yesterday, only went in one direction towards Hickory Hollow Mall. But at one point, it had been conceived that there would be a full interchange at that location. So, again, if we knew now what we know then, we probably never would have done this project. But so we bought the property, or we contracted to buy the property. We hired barge engineers. We had a great relationship with 3 administrations kind of working on this project and kind of cast a large vision, and ultimately got approved a project on 300 acres that could develop up to 35 million square feet. It's fully zoned and approved for 35 million feet. We work with the city on infrastructure improvements, kind of for the entire area, for the water and the sewer capacity to work. And, you know, the problem was, how do we pay for this project? So we agreed to put a community business improvement district in place. This was a little bit unusual for the suburbs. I think there was 2 in Nashville, 1 downtown Nashville and 1 in the Gulch. And that is a facility where we actually put a tax on ourselves. So we put $1 per 100 tax on all of our property. And the idea was to use this additional tax revenues collected by the city and distributed according to a approved plan by the city in order to reimburse us for the cost of half of the infrastructure, or a significant piece of the infrastructure, more than half, I guess. So we've advanced about, and again, in a public-private partnership, we've spent about almost $45 million on infrastructure. The project, does everybody know where it is? I want to make sure everybody knows in Antioch about the location, which is between the Bell Road interchange and the Hickory Hollow interchange, and really extends to the other side of the Hickory Hollow interchange. And so that's the property. That's the old Target, and that's now the Cons and Floor and Decor in the bottom right-hand corner of the property. And that's the way the interchange used to look. It was just a one-way interchange. So this is what we have now, and outlined in red again is the property. And you can see that, and so we worked with the city and the state and the feds to get approved a Divergent Diamond interchange. It's the second one in the state. There's one in Sevierville, which is set up to carry high traffic loads. And again, the reason we were able to get that was, well, there were a couple reasons. Number one, the Bell Road interchange is it rated an F interchange. It's just too busy. The city recognized and TDOT recognized that they needed to do something in order to alleviate some of the traffic on the Bell Road interchange, and this seemed like a likely only place to do it. Number two, we had done a deal with Community Health Systems, which is on one of our boards that's probably up here, right? One of these boards in front, to build a 200,000-foot building, and the city was able to woo them away from Williamson County for what's a major employment base. And that's really what kicked off the project. We spent about $2.5 million on the interchange design. This is before we had anything approved. We were very naive at that time. But we spent about $2.5 million in 2.5 years getting that interchange approved and funded, ultimately from the Fed and TDOT. So the interchange is $37 or $38 million, was 100% funded with Fed and TDOT dollars. So that was great. It created real value for us and real value for Antioch, and a real economic engine for the development of the project, and kind of helped in the resurgence of Antioch. On the interior roads there you see built now, and incidentally, these roads opened yesterday, so this is a very timely meeting. The interchange and the roads all opened yesterday for business after 5 years of working on them. So we spent about approximately $45 million on grading roads, lighting, landscaping, et cetera, to create kind of a first-class project and a first-class opportunity. You know, we've been marketing this property, and I can say we've had unbelievable success at securing some really, really great tenants and great opportunities, and every piece of property within the development is kind of in play at this point in time, with great tenants that will create great jobs, great opportunity, great shopping and living and office experiences for people. And we'll go through the tenants here.
Yeah, and if you look here at the this aerial 2021 aerial, which was taken Saturday, you'll see the few businesses that are under construction or open. And that only tells part of the story, because behind all that is a total ton of other deals going on in different phases of development. So I'll kind of walk you around the board here if I could. So the project pretty much started with CHS in this corner. They bought 35 acres from us back before the interstate was even approved. We have now sold a 15-acre site to Nashville SC, our MLS soccer team. They're going to build a 40,000-foot office building, corporate office building. They're going to do 3 full-size fields for their players. We have a medical piece to it. We have an agreement, a contract with Tanger Outlets to do approximately 300,000 square foot outlet center, which is going to be kind of a new age outlet center. They're working with a lot of local businesses, restaurants. It's not going to be your grandfather's outlet mall anymore. Vintage Century Farms is a Murfreesboro-based group that is doing Vintage Century Farms and Vintage 1857. Vintage Century Farms is already open. They're leasing it like crazy. Double the rate they anticipated, they're leasing the thing.
Yeah, they had anticipated leasing 20 units a month, and they're actually leasing 70 units a month. So in 3 months, they'll be 100% leased at really nice rents. And it's a beautiful project, incidentally.
HCA has constructed an ER, a freestanding ER, right in the heart of the project, and it has been doing you know, but I guess it's a double-edged sword. They've been doing a lot of business too. It's very convenient, and it's been an unserved area for them. That is even without any interstate access until yesterday. We're also constructing a 39,000 square foot medical office building between Vintage and TriStar. That building is considerably under construction, probably open late first quarter of next year. We are closing later this month with Oxford Properties. You can see down on the boards here, Oxford's going to do a mixed-use 317 residential units and 22,000 feet of retail. Very urban looking, looks like it's right out of the Gulch. And then as I keep going, we're doing a lot of stuff with some name brand restaurant people, Chipotle, Panera, Whataburger, those kind of folks. So this is going to create a gateway into the southeast part of Nashville that we don't have right now. And we're only 12 miles from downtown. So as people approach from the southeast, this will be a great welcoming spot.
I think back to our reference to Nashville West, you know, the road there has 190,000 cars, I think 170,000 vehicles per day in front of that location. So it had a lot of the same components that Nashville West had. It was an underserved market. It had great traffic counts. It had people that were starved for shopping opportunities. So we really thought this property could be a great answer to that situation.
And so currently, we have completed all the roads. As Mark said, all the roads are open as of yesterday. We are still doing some grading work. If you drive out there on the Expo, which is our last phase, really our last two phases of the frontage phases. And so this project, we think, will take about 2 more years to finally mature and all of our construction be completed.
We do have contracts on 4 hotels. We've sold a piece for a 280 unit apartment complex on the bottom right-hand corner of the property, and we have an LOI to do another approximately 300 units on the Expo site, and a big kind of Nashville West power strip center, or else we have a really big retailer that's looking at that. And basically every piece of property has got a contract or a backup contract for something. So a lot of times, apparently when you do these things around the country, people come in very early on this CBID situation and try to get this money early to build stuff. In this case, you know, the fruits of our labor are there. There's minimal risk. And as Bill referenced, we think in 2 or 3 years, everything will be developed or under construction in any case. We did I think about a $250,000 traffic study, and it said that this road ultimately, Century Farms Parkway will have like 30,000 cars a day on it. And it's really servicing that area of the county that's kind of still rural, that is a place that the city in the Nashville Next plan says, excuse me, a lot of the growth in Nashville will end up going. A lot of the housing will go. So again, I think it was a confluence of the sun, the moon, and the stars lining up to get this project done. As I said, if we knew then what we know now, we probably never would have done it. But we're very proud of where it is today, and proud that we're going to kind of, and I think it's created a huge resurgence in Antioch. Antioch has the second fastest growing residential housing stock. Rents are increased significantly. The quality of the housing and everything has gone up. So we think we've really done to Antioch, or helped to create in Antioch what we created in Nashville West, which is a real economic engine.
Oh, thank you all for your presentation. You have your bond counsel. Would you introduce yourself and maybe talk about a little more details on the CBID and then what will happen at our next board meeting, likely in October?
So what I passed out, and I think you already had it, so now you got 2 copies of it. I'm Jeff Oldham at Bassbury & Sims, and we've historically served as bond counsel to Metro, and when this board has had a bond issue to you, and so we're your lawyer. And so they've talked about the project, and I want to talk a little bit about the structure of the financing. And one thing I'll tell you right out of the gate is nobody's being asked to approve anything today. Today is really just a time to walk through everything, let you ask questions, and then we would come back next month. But with that, let me give you a little bit of the history. And and I don't have any better plan than to sort of regurgitate what I've got here on the page. This project, in a lot of ways, the financing initiated with the Metro Council. So in 2018, the Metro Council approved and created this Central Business Improvement District, which is basically, you know, it's a boundaried area. And within that boundaried area, all the property owners pay their full property tax. And then in addition, they pay $1 per $100 of assessed value on top. So we are not talking about property taxes. This is not a TIF in that sense. All the property taxes will go to Metro as they normally do. We're only talking about the dollar of special assessment, the over and above dollar. So that's what the ordinance is, boundary that, you know, put the boundaries around the area, assess the dollar. That is now underway. Here's your, these folks have developed it. They talked about what they put in. The bulk of the infrastructure is the roadway to get from the interstate to and through that development. And for what it's worth, Metro partnered with them on the cost of that roadway. So Metro did fund some of that. They have funded the balance. So you get to sort of your role in this. You know, this board traditionally funds projects like this. You know, Metro is good at issuing general obligation bonds, water and sewer revenue bonds, electric system revenue bonds. This board is tailor-made for sort of project finance like this. And state statutes authorize this board to issue bonds to finance public infrastructure improvements for projects like this. So the mechanics then, and maybe do this, let's flip over to the very last page, the PowerPoint slide. This maybe just sort of give you a sense of how this works. You know, this board would issue, you know, roughly $40 million of bonds through an indenture to bondholders. Bondholders would pay the bond proceeds to you. You would use those to reimburse, as these guys said, reimburse these guys for the documented public infrastructure improvements related to the project. So then you go, well, how do the bonds get paid? Well, Metro, and we have Michelle Bosch, the Metro treasurer here, who's followed this closely and is you know, she and Margaret and me and some others are tasked with making sure that Metro knows what to do with the dollar as it comes in, because that's what's going to pay these bonds. There would be a very simple intergovernmental agreement that says, hey guys, if you'll issue the bonds, we Metro will turn the dollars over to you as and when we get them, and you'll use those dollars to pay bondholders. So that's the bond structure. And then sort of going back to the outline, our schedule would be, you know, today we want to give you an overview, let you ask questions. If we, you know, continue as scheduled, we would go to the Metro Council on October 19th and have the council approve the intergovernmental agreement. So at that point, you'll have not only Metro Council on the hook from 2018 saying, yes, we've created this Central Business Improvement District and levied the assessment, but we've also approved the intergovernmental agreement. Go get these bonds done. We would come back to you on the 20th with bond documents like the indenture and the intergovernmental agreement for you to consider for formal approval. And then if that went well, we would close the bond issue, you know, within a month afterwards. So I'll stop. I've rambled on. Any questions of me about structure or these guys about the project itself or anything else?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll turn it over to my fellow board members. I'll start over here to my left. Any questions about the project in general for the developer and or specifically related to the CBID? And maybe Jeff can answer that in detail.
Just I had a mechanics, this is more of it's not a TIF deal, it's CBID funding. What differs, I guess, from TIF? Because it sounded like we're issuing the bond, and then is it paid back out of the taxes that are generated from this specific area over time that comes into the Metro, and then it's pushed to our bond payments? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, so a TIF deal, and a TIF deal...
Thank you, Board Member Davis.
In a TIF deal, you would do the same thing, but there would be no assessment. What you would do is you would take a portion of the property taxes that would otherwise be paid to Metro, You pull them out and use them to pay debt service. This is different in that all the property taxes go where they normally go. And it's the property owners paying an over and above rate. It's only leveraging that stream of revenue. So for example, if the tax bill is $100 and the assessment is another $20, $100 goes to Metro. $20 of that extra gets pulled off. Metro diverts it to the bond trustee to pay debt service on these bonds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I didn't realize that. So is that how CBIDs always work, that there's this over and above sort of assessment?
That's exactly right.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll just add, I remember when Councilmember Dowell was working on this at council, and it was, a very exciting time, and I know that they're really excited about the project in general in the southeast area, so thank you.
Yeah, and I thank you for your question. I think that's a great clarification, just so everyone can understand. There's not money that's coming out of the property tax dollars that's taken away from areas where it needs to go. This is above that.
That's right.
Specifically to go towards, to pay the bond for the infrastructure improvement. So, yeah, thank you for the clarification. Anyone else to my left? Well,
Oh, I just had
go
a
ahead.
question that I thought was pretty
Vice Chair,
related
yeah, go
to
ahead.
that. And so these are just secured solely from that tax revenue stream? There's no secondary fund or money securing the bonds, is that correct?
That's right. There's no recourse, certainly to this board, and no recourse to Metro except to that revenue stream.
All right, thank you, Vice Chair. Board Member Allen?
Yes, first of all, thank you very much for the nice visual. I think that's always nice to see that because we can really visualize it because we know where that target was and when it left. But more importantly, I was a former board member of Southern Hills Hospital and was part of the planning and the research as it now is built. Understanding the need and that Antioch is our diamond in the rough. It is a secret weapon that a lot of people in Davidson County are just not aware of the beauty of what it brings. I'm also a current board member of the Friends of Mill Ridge, which is a 650 Metro Park, a new park that's being built out there. First area that does not have a park. And then we have this project, which is huge. And if we understand what Antioch has been or where Antioch is going, obviously, you're in the forefront of it and the need of that. So my questions are, was that tracked in a census track of, because Antioch is below the poverty line? I don't even know the term of what it's called, but like a property tax level? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
It's not in an opportunity zone, but
That's
we
what I meant.
almost were. We're right on
Okay.
the edge of it, darn it.
Okay.
So that would have been great, but it's not in an opportunity
Okay,
zone.
that's the term I was looking for. But with all that, and obviously, we're going to be taking sales tax revenue from the Rutherford County Shopping Center, which a lot of our Davidson County residents in the south were going to. So do we have a projected of what that retail sales would be?
I didn't bring that information. We actually did a study, and I'll tell you that between the sales and property tax, it's an extraordinary amount of money for Metro. So Metro made an investment, as Jeff referenced, part of the infrastructure on the front end, and the return on investment is crazy good. And it thanks to the three mayors now that have all looked at this, they've all said it was a great deal. But I'd be hesitant to tell you that number, but it's many tens of millions of dollars over the next 10 or 15 years.
So we will be being able to keep our sales tax revenue in Davidson County
Right.
and not let it go to Rutherford County, which is
A lot of
like-
people in Antioch shop in Smyrna.
Right,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. So, thank you.
Expo Drive.
Right.
Thank you, Board Member Allen. Board Member Weaver?
Is this plot the entirety of the CBID?
It is. We just are taxing ourselves, nobody else.
Okay. And the $40 million is to continue to build infrastructure to service this?
That's to reimburse us for the infrastructure that's
That
in
you've
place.
already built?
There's about $4 to $6 million that will be spent over the next 150 days that would be in reserve out of that bond issue to complete the infrastructure. That's complete the landscaping, the lighting, the sidewalks, et cetera. But yes, sir, we've spent in excess of $35 million already.
I understand. Great looking project. Thank you.
And very quickly, just on that note, can you provide a little bit more details? But obviously, there's a lot of road improvements, but did that 35 million also go to water lines, sewer lines, et cetera? If you can speak to that as well.
Yes, sir. It went to water lines, sewer lines, sidewalks, lighting, landscaping, greenways that we're going to build. So it was kind of all of the infrastructure improvements. It included relocating electric power lines. So it was significant, all of the public infrastructure. You know, it's only for public infrastructure, not for private infrastructure. So it's only stuff that the public uses every day.
Yep, thank you. And for people that are not familiar with this, I mean, this was green. So that's why there's so much infrastructure work that needed to be done here. So
And there was a bunch of rock, as you might imagine.
Always in Nashville,
God,
right?
dang, you can't believe it. We've been making big rocks into little rocks for years.
There's rocks everywhere, for sure. I'll go to my right now. Anyone have any questions or comments for Old Acre or Jeff Oldham, more specifically related to the bond? All right, board member Wright, thank you.
Yes, I really appreciate this project, and understand the deal you have to go through in order for this to come to fruition, and the timetable of actually doing the infrastructure before you can even put one bulldozer on the project. So I've been in similar situations, not this large of a project, and of course not this cost. So I appreciate you putting that much into the project at this point and understand those costs. This area outlines, of course, a lot of residential, if I'm picturing correctly, residential in Antioch. And you had mentioned that there were 317 residential units that are proposed, 280 apartments, and there was another 300, I believe.
There's a total of 1,300 residential units approved for the project, and all of those are either under construction, open,
Okay.
under contract, or under a letter of intent.
Okay, so these are already in progress, the residential.
Right.
Okay.
212, 217, 283, 317, and 271.
Okay.
And a little bit of this is you need the residents in order to drive the restaurant use. You need the restaurant use in order to drive the office use. It's all kind of a symbiotic relationship. So we've got to have all of those pieces kind of develop.
The retail, I work in retail, and you all know, yeah, the retail will follow the residential. Where the people are, that's where the retail will follow for sure.
And we have deals with Panera and Chipotle and a number of sit-down restaurants. So we'll have a great kind of offering there. There hadn't been any new restaurants except for
Panda Express and Starbucks have happened across the interstate. So this is kind of rejuvenating the east side of Hickory Hollow as well.
And we actually developed the Slim and Huskies, if you've been to the Slim and Huskies in Antioch, and that's doing fantastic incidentally. But so this will be a place for these restaurants to locate, and that's one of the things. We did a dozen or dozens of community meetings out there before we started this project. And what we heard from people is we need restaurants, we need shopping, we need shopping. We need a place to work so we don't have to drive to Cool Springs. So we're trying to satisfy all of those needs, kind of orchestrating it all to get done kind of simultaneously.
For sure. Board member Wright, I'm sorry, go ahead, continue. If you had another question on that. Okay. Anyone else here to my right? Board member Johnson?
I don't think my mic is working. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, just try to speak up, please. Thank you.
So I'm trying to wrap my head around this. I actually own a home in that area. So a lot of those things are needed. This is right there where the new interstate is being constructed, where Target is, right?
Right past the Target.
Right past the Target. So, thank you. So I'm thinking about this, right? Okay, I have a few questions, and feel free to jump in and help me because this is kind of still not making sense. So the ordinance assessment, right, is $1. Now, what happens when $1 per every 100 assessed value? What happens if the money doesn't come in the way that you project? Are you able to? Is there a lock on it, or does it increase, or?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, so the ordinance is, and the deal is $1 per $100 of assessed value, whatever it is. and whatever comes in is used to pay debt service. We all hope it's enough. If it's not, and that's an absolute fair question to ask, these bonds will be sold under an offering document that you'll have in front of you next week that walks through all of that to bondholders. And at the back of that document is going to be a report prepared by a consultant that does a projection of what those revenues are likely to be based on various scenarios. A great scenario, a middle-of-the-road scenario, and it didn't go well scenario. And all of those will be laid out to bondholders and say, this is what you're getting, and you're only getting what we pull out of this. There's no other pot of money. You're not on the hook. Metro's not on the hook. It's just this. And so they will, and this is typical in this market to be sold like that. The rates on these bonds will be higher than the rates that Metro pays on its general obligation bonds. Because those general obligation bonds, Metro is saying, no matter what happens, good, bad, or indifferent, we're paying. So bondholders will negotiate for a little higher rate on these because of that. One thing that gets sort of down in the weeds, but it's important to know, the bond documents will be drafted so that the lack of revenues is not a default, because you can't control that, so that's an important thing. And so bondholders really are taking this credit and taking the risk that the dollar is enough. That's a long-winded answer to your question. It was a good question.
Yeah, so the dollar basically can't increase, is what you're saying?
It only increases as assessed value increases. The rate, Metro has they do, but it's convoluted, and it would take the approval of property owners. You can't just go back in and raise the assessment. It's going to be $1.
Now, I'm learning this. I'm reading about this. Doesn't that hurt Nashville? Because obviously the value is going to increase, right? So that dollar goes from $1 to like $10.
Well,
sounds a little.
So the dollar is per $100 of assessed value. So if assessed value, which it should, historically, properties in Nashville, the assessed value has grown over time. So as that grows, the revenues generated from the dollar will grow. So it's not just, it's $1 per 100. And so if a $1 million property evolves into a $2 million assessed value property, the revenues generated by the dollar will double. And so everybody expects and hopes that the revenues generated from the dollar will grow over time as things are built and as the assessed value of the things that are built increases.
So for an example, vintage Century Farms, there should be a picture of the apartments that are up. When we sold them that property, we sold it for $2.8 million, and they paid $1 per $100 on that $2.8 million. That project is now built, and it's worth $60 million. So what happens is we went from collecting, $30,000 in taxes before we started, and now that will pay $500,000 in taxes for the CBID. So, or for $150,000, whatever the number is. But so the assessed value of that property went up as it gets improved, and that stream of income out of the improved properties are what the bondholders are counting on to pay it back. And I might say there is a reserve fund. This is all, it's interesting. We've done one of these type of projects before, but typically you raise money on this kind of project before you even start, when it's just an idea. And bondholders will buy it because they're looking for the yield, and these are tax-free bonds. In this case, we're selling the bonds much later in the process. So they're going to perceive when they go to market these bonds that there's much less risk because the infrastructure's in place, the roads, water, and sewer in place, there's already development in place, there's contracts to purchase, deals under construction, et cetera. So from a risk-reward basis for the bondholders, they're feeling really good about the opportunity relative to most bond CBID offerings.
And maybe it's just me, but I feel like the dollar assessment being able to increase is the reward a little bit too much, if that makes sense.
I know what you're saying, but
it seems like you're gonna, and feel free to jump in, because again, I'm learning this, but it seems like you're gonna win either way. So even though we know the revenue is gonna increase, what is the big takeaway for the city besides the obvious infrastructure, which I have a couple questions about that too. We don't have to get too deep into that.
These are great questions.
Yeah, good questions.
So here's what, the dollar comes in, and in your scenario, which we hope is right, that it is a win for everybody, and the bonds get paid. The excess, and remember where this dollar comes from, this is not really city taxes, it's a voluntary additional payment by people who live in that area. So as the money comes in and bonds get paid, it ends up in a surplus fund that can only be used the same way that the downtown CBID dollars can be used for streetscape improvements, basically to keep that area spruced up and nice. So all the dollars from that dollar will go to keeping that area looking as good as it can look. And so that's the benefit. And so all those dollars are generated there and they stay there.
But at any
Go
point,
ahead.
can you change that dollar from oh, we winning, so we want to go from $1 to $5?
Only with, and you can imagine, so if you lived out there, you're gonna have to pay, so you get a vote. And only with the vote of the people who live there and who would have to pay it, can you raise it. And what you can do is if you get to the end of the bonds and you realize the dollar not only covered the bonds and the bonds are now gone, but it's more than we need to keep this spruced up. You could lower it, to 50 cents to what you needed, but you can only raise it if you get the blessing of the people who are gonna have to pay it.
Yeah, which brings me to my next question, I'm sorry.
No,
but
take your time,
that is a
Board Member
huge,
Johnson.
Immigrant population that lives out there. There are a lot of immigrant-owned business. Majority of them are in that surrounding area. And, I mean, this is great, but I'd rather have our local Mexican food than Chipotle. So I'm just wondering, with the outreach that you did, were there two things? Is there a plan for jobs? Is there a job plan that's written, local hire plan? Like, is that somewhere written? And two, are there opportunities for small business retail? And if so, do you have any in the pipeline, local?
We are working on a food hall that would include about, we think, 12 to 15 typically locally owned restaurants in a kind of food hall, much like Fifth and Broadway, if you've been to Fifth and Broadway, but more local oriented kind of situation. We feel great about that. We've got a restaurateur who's going to partner with us and kind of seed that with 4 or 5 of their concepts of the 15. And we know Tanger's reached out to the local community. And is really trying to work to get some local tenants in there. So there is an opportunity for local tenants, and we think that's great that Tanger's doing that. We recognize the immigrant community is a huge piece of this. Christine and I have talked about this a number of times, and we do want to appeal to that community. What's happened to us is until the roads were done and opened, which was yesterday, people don't really understand what diamond in the rough this project is. Now people will drive it and people will start to call off the signs, and I think we'll get more activity. We are working with the local brokerage community to help kind of attract some people. So I feel like there'll be lots of job opportunities. I think there'll be a significant number of local businesses that have an opportunity to lease space there, and so we're looking forward to that.
But there's no plan, local hire plan.
Okay. We don't really hire anybody. I mean, we don't hire people for these businesses. We just lease or sell property to businesses, and then they have to deal with the hiring.
That's all my questions.
Thank you, Board Member Johnson. And I think to some great questions. I think, Jeff, the point to kind of just clarify and for everyone, just to make sure everyone is clear, is that the reason this is set up is really trying to put this the right way, was to make sure that funds are earmarked specifically for this area to not only pay the bond back, but maintain the area moving forward. Is that a good way of looking at it?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And the downtown CBID, I think you mentioned that, it's just a good example. Downtown, there's a boundary around the downtown CBID, and the property owners within that boundary said, we're willing to pay more than our taxes, something in addition to our taxes. But if we pay it, it's going to stay in our area and be used to fund improvements in our area. That's exactly what's going on here. The only difference between this and the downtown CBID is I don't think the downtown CBID has ever borrowed money and used the revenue stream to pay back debt. But the bond proceeds and therefore the dollars are going to the same types of things that the downtown CBID could fund. It's infrastructure and improvements in the area where the people are paying the voluntary tax.
That makes sense. And,
Yeah.
and certainly the other piece of this too, that's a little unique again, is that the developer has already put in the infrastructure and you said, I think you spent over $30 million already
Yes.
for that. So that's the other piece that lowers the risk is that the infrastructure is already in place versus getting a bond issuance on the front end, you know.
That's right, and you alluded to something a minute ago that I think it's worth talking about in terms of bondholder risk. The majority of these bonds are going to be sold solely based on revenue streams, not just projected revenue streams, but revenues from facilities that are either coming out of the ground, under contract, or subject to a letter of intent. And we'll get more into this next month, but that's an important piece of that. That's one good thing that bondholders know. It's not just speculative stuff. It's stuff that's got paperwork or actually improvements behind it. The other is, there is a debt service reserve. I think that was mentioned. So if there's a dip for a year, there's a year's worth of debt service in reserve. And the third, and maybe most important thing is bond issues like this are always sized so that the projected revenue stream covers like a multiple of debt service. So I think the way we have this one, the majority of the bonds will be sold in a way that matches like 1.25 times debt service. So long way of saying, if the project were to slip, by 20%, there would still be coverage for that. So worth noting. That was more than I expected to talk about today, but that's only because y'all have asked really good questions.
Thank you. I'll go to.
Can I just real quick?
Go ahead.
Something I think just a misnomer that maybe is causing some of the confusion is we're talking about people who live in the area, but they're businesses, right? So whether it's Old Acre McDonald as the landlord, or if CHS owns the property, those are the entities paying the property tax. I think it sounds like the people who actually live here are renting, correct? So it's actually their landlord who's paying the tax, but most of these are businesses. So if you think about it as a property owner and not a person living there, I think it might make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I was more so just trying to see how we keep more of the revenue going back into the city than paying it on the, you referenced it at the top.
Yeah.
But again, that's why this is above that number. So there's no revenue. That's why this CBID is set up. So there's not, if you think about the normal property tax dollars, you said you have a home near there. This is not taking away those property tax dollars that you pay that go for, infrastructure, that go to our schools, et cetera. That's why this CBID is set up, so that we're not taking money, funds are not being diverted from that. It's above that amount that's dedicated to this.
I get that. I'm just trying to make more money for the city.
Well, and what you've done with this offering is you've empowered this project to happen, and it's gonna create a lot more money for the city, because again, going back to that land we sold for the vintage apartment complex, we sold for $2.5 million. It's now appraised for $60 million. So they're gonna pay property tax on $60 million worth of revenues, which is, at 465 is, I don't know how much money that is, what the tax rate is, but it's $5 or $6 or $7 or $800,000. So a piece of property that generated $5,000 in property tax is gonna generate $800,000 in property tax for the city, plus the dollar, our dollars in addition to that. So the city will make a lot of money in this project. When Tanger comes in there and they'll do, $500 or $1,000 a foot, they'll do $100 or $150 million of sales. The city's portion of that sales tax, I think, is 1.25%. So the city will make $1.8 million a year in sales tax revenues.
Sales tax, yep.
And a lot of that is sales tax revenues captured from outside of the people who live in Davidson County. So it's not.
Which is great. Spend your money
dollars.
Here.
Yeah, spend your money here and go home.
And another thing.
That's great, thank you.
Another thing too is we're not twisting these guys' arms to pay this extra tax. We have not had any complaints about it because they are going into a special place, and we're going to keep it a special place by maintaining it. That's one thing that doesn't happen in your typical situation. The Metro cuts the grass, and we are maintaining it to an excellent level with landscaping and flowers and all that stuff. It's going to be a whole different ballgame.
That scares me though. That's the part that scares me, because I feel like
Do you want to turn you want to turn your mic on,
That's the
Board Member
part-
Johnson?
Sorry for taking over, but that's
You're
the part
okay.
that makes me nervous because I feel like you plop that right there in the middle. They get this money to maintain their land, and then the small businesses around suffer because they can't keep up the anesthetics of this big new development. So that's why I was like, that dollar keeps increasing, but where's the, intent that's verified on paper to like put that back into the local businesses? So I'm a dreamer.
Well,
I know this is how it's always been done.
So maybe you guys can talk about the board appointments, because typically we have a DMC, District Management Corporation, much like in Texas, we have MMDs. Talk about the board composition and how the board approves the budget versus expenses for the annual budget and so on. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, now see, you put me on the spot. I don't know, and I may have to lean on Margaret over here.
And Jeff, let me chime in real quick. What I would say too is that may be something you speak on a little bit today, but maybe have some more details for our October meeting, where we can go into greater detail.
Yeah, and the Reader's Digest version is you have elected officials. The board is a combination of elected officials, developer representatives, and other folks. And you're exactly right. That District Management Corporation oversees all the dollars that come in. Now, state law, as you can imagine, won't allow that District Management Corporation to send the dollars outside the district. They've got to stay in. But as long as they stay in, that District Management Corporation makes those decisions. And I left that off of my summary, the District Management Corporation, and I will come with more details about exactly, there is a board and we know the names and we can bring all that. They will approve this deal prior to your next meeting as well. But you're very good point. Exactly.
And I think the board includes the legislator for the area, the councilman for the area, one or two people appointed by the mayor's office, 2 developer representatives. So it's basically set up to be truly an independent board, and I think the mayor's representatives are people who live in the Antioch community. And so we've had a kickoff meeting about a year ago and haven't had much business to do, but we've toured the legislator of the area, so that everybody's kind of up to speed on the project. But I think it's a good, solid board with some good local representation, the legislator and the council person.
Yep, thank you for that. Thank you for your comments, Board Member Johnson. Board Member Forrester, thank you for your patience.
So I understood you to say that it's a $40 million bond issue, which is, and in the grand scheme of things, that's not a big bond issue. I assume it'll be going to institutional investors. Are you going to go for a rating on it?
No, and I'm not the banker, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt, but I think I'm right. No rating. This is not the kind of thing that gets rated. Absolutely limited only to institutional investors.
Okay. I kind of view this like a big giant HOA, right? You bring in a big pot of money and then you use it to develop or for infrastructure. Do you know how much money is in this segregated account currently?
I don't. So the CBID collections to date, I don't.
I have a question in right now to our chief accountant to find out how much has been collected, and I'll get that information out to the board.
Okay.
It's been mostly on undeveloped land, obviously. We just have, the projects have just started, so they'll just start to have a significant increase in the revenues in that. So I think it's $200,000 or $300,000 collected last year. That's the number that sticks in my head, but I could be wrong. We haven't the city hasn't remitted it to the board yet, by the way.
So Metro's has funded 12 million of the roadway costs to date, and you guys are expected to fund the rest, which is the 40 million in the bond issue, correct?
That's correct.
So the value to you guys in doing a bond issue is that you don't have to pull all the money out of your pocket today.
That's correct. Or we get to reimburse that pocket that's pulled it out already.
Okay.
The 30, and again, I think it's 30 plus million around that number that you have already spent doing some of the infrastructure work, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay, so from your perspective, you paid more than half.
We paid more than half.
Okay, I know this community has a lot of very active community groups. Have y'all worked with them over the years?
Can I respond real quick? Because I want to answer for you all on that, just because I feel sorry, but I grew up in this area. I think I've shared that before. I probably spent between growing up and living in this area after college, I've spent, 30 plus years of my life. I guess I'm aging myself. If anyone thought I was 29, I'm not. But very passionate. I can say that even a few years ago, one of the community groups in that area, CNAP, which is Crossings, use the name Crossings for that area. Old Acre McDonald was coming to those meetings 5 or 6 years ago, and I know because I went to several of those. So I'll let them add, but I didn't want to say just because I went to them, and they were very active, and I'm sure still active in that organization, but they attended multiple meetings, answered tons of questions, kind of talked about their plan for this area, even before a lick of dirt was moved. So I would say from a resident neighbor standpoint, they've done a great job of doing that and working with the council people as well. And the other thing I would just say on this real quickly, this area, this area is not technically would not have been in my quote unquote council district. But what I will say is in Southeast Nashville, all the districts that, everything affects everybody. It's a very tight-knit group in Antioch. And so although this project would not, quote unquote, be in the council district that I grew up in, it very much is the area that people go to. So anyway, I'll let you all add to that if you like, but I just want to make sure I said that.
Thanks, yeah. I appreciate it. When we were conceiving of this project, we had, I think, a dozen separate meetings with the neighbors about what they wanted. And we actually got big tables out and trash paper and magic markers and let everybody draw what they want, where they wanted it to be, et cetera. So we took all of that into account when we came back with a plan. We do attend you made reference to CNAP meeting. I think those happen every 60 days. We attend all of those meetings. The councilman, every time we have a project come up, she has a meeting, typically been Zoom over the last 18 months. We attend all those meetings and answer any questions. We've been to numerous community meetings and feel like we're kind of an integral piece of the community at this point in time. And, I think to the question about local businesses, it's been an important component and something we're sensitive to, which is one of the reasons we're working on this food hall is in the hope that we can attract some local hip restaurateurs that would want to, relocate their business to our area. So we feel like we're kind of integral into the community, and we feel like, and we give out our cards to those meetings and say, hey, anybody can call Bill or I anytime. We'll take calls 724-365, and for any questions, concerns, or interest.
Thank you.
Anything else, Board Member Forrester? All right, thank you all. Vice Chair Segal, any other questions? Or comments on your end?
Yeah, I just want to say, I know that some of these docs will be out pretty soon. Some will probably get closer to next meeting. And I think this is probably a larger discussion, too, about this board with the mayor's office. And I've talked to Margaret, and I know the Metro website is not currently set up to make documents that we're reviewing public before the meetings. But if there is some way to maybe get them posted on our website, or maybe the mayor's office can have an email address where people who want them can email and at least get them emailed out before the meeting, particularly given the sensitive nature of bond issues in Nashville today and knowing that the community wants to know what's going on. I think it would be really great if we could just add that level of transparency, because once they come to us, everybody should be able to see them. And I would really appreciate it if you and the mayor's office and Margaret can kind of get your heads together and figure out a way to do that, not just for this, but kind of, frankly, everything going forward. I know that's in the works, but I've had a lot of questions about it. So I would love to be able to say, yes, we acted on something and it was public to everybody and easily accessible.
I think that's something we can look at. I mean, working with Margaret and our IT person and working with the developer, typically you'll do like a PowerPoint presentation beforehand and we can post that. If you guys.
And we do have a good PowerPoint presentation. We could upload to wherever you want us to upload it. And we actually, I think we have a site that we upload information to. We'd be happy to upload the bond documents if it's allowed. I mean, you know.
Well, they're public records, so it's just a matter of, we can do whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think, they're all public record, right? It's just that the public doesn't always have access to them.
I wasn't, I was making the point that because they are public record, I think they can be shared however you want to share. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we could call the councilman and ask her to just share them on her site, because she has a lot of followers in Antioch. If you're concerned mostly about Antioch people, so they could look at them, that's probably a really good idea.
So we'll ask you to do a presentation, create a PowerPoint. We can upload it for the next meeting, so everybody knows what it is, and do it a week before the meeting.
And you're saying we can try to put that on maybe the Metro website?
That's the idea. That's what we have, yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll try to work on that then.
Yeah, Chair Hodge, because I got confused too when the document was like encrypted, which made me question, like, does this mean, because yes, the councilwoman has a lot of followers, but there are also, like Winnie said, several community groups out there that aren't being engaged because they aren't engaged at that level. So they lean on board members to be transparent, and they hold us accountable to being transparent. So I was like, is this something we're not supposed to share? Why is it encrypted?
Yeah, and so to answer that, my question is, it's only encrypted because Metro's technology is a little in flux and makes it very difficult to share with us without doing that, not because it should be private. And so until that writes itself and everything for all our meetings can be posted in a way that anybody can get to, it would seem that we can do some sort of workaround and start with this project. It'd be great.
And obviously the agendas are posted, so we can, and minutes are posted also once they're approved. So we'll work on that. Obviously, specifically to your question, I think on this one, the council, there's probably some documents we can post, but it sounds like based on timing, some of the approvals that you need from council will happen literally the night before our meeting, correct? So that we may not be able to post that in time, that part in time for our meeting.
Could the drafts not be posted and just watermarked, draft not approved or something?
I think as Courtney said, I think we can work on it and figure it out.
And I was just saying the approval part for that part probably wouldn't be able to be posted because it's the night before. Yeah, because it's the night before. So, yeah, we'll work on that. So thank you. Vice Chair, any other comments or questions on this matter? All right. Tim, all right? No questions. Yeah. No, just speak, or you can come over here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
perfect, thank you. And I'll be
Thank you,
brief.
Board Member
I appreciate
Hannah.
it. Thank you. I appreciate the presentation and really appreciate the visuals. It's an exciting project. Just a couple questions about the assessment. So is it currently at, I just was flipping through the materials, is it currently at $1 or is it at 55 cents?
$1.
It's
It was
at
originally
$1.
set at 55, and then the council came back and bumped it to $1.
Got it, thank you. And is it, I think you said this earlier, but is it indefinite until the actual property owners make a decision to change it up or down?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And just for context, how does this compare to other CBIDs? Is it typically $1 per 100 assessed value, or is this out of the ordinary for some reason?
It's in the range. I believe the downtown CBID is a little bit higher. They went up, I can't think of how long ago it was, but they went up at some point. But I think as Mr. Oldham explained earlier, in order to change the assessment, you have to have buy-in from the people who are, and the property owners that are being assessed. So sometimes that can be difficult. There's a CBID in the Gulch area as well. And I also think that they started out at a particular amount and they increased their amount also. So, but those all have to go, the property owners have to vote on it, and then it'll go back to the council for final approval before a change is made.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Board Member Hannah. Just on my end, couple quick questions. So obviously, you are the developer, so there's certain portions of the property that you sell off. But as it pertains to the residential units, and obviously you may not be developing all of those apartment complexes, but do you have any information on any type of affordable housing units or workforce housing by any of the apartment developers that you've sold parcels off to?
We have a interest in one of the apartment complexes.
Okay.
But we don't have an interest in the other apartment complexes, so really not up to speed on what percentage of it is affordable or workforce housing.
Okay. Are you aware that, and obviously, again, I know that's not, you sold those other parcels. Do you know if that's something that is being looked into by those developers for those specific parcels?
I apologize, I really don't.
Okay. If you hear something, that would be something, and certainly it's not, obviously it's not a requirement of the CBIT, but certainly just due to the, rising cost of housing in Nashville. I still have a house that I bought 15 years ago and not too far from here, and I'm still blown away by how much the homes are going for right now. So, again, not a requirement, but certainly if you get some information, I know that myself and would certainly be interested in that. Again, just due to the cost of the rising housing cost everywhere in Nashville, it's certainly a great problem to have that a lot of people want to move here and like myself, decide to raise my family here, but certainly downside to that is the rising cost. So if you get any information between now and October, we'd certainly like to hear about that. So
we'll check on that.
So thank you. And then lastly, I'll just comment just quickly. I want to thank my board members because everyone's asked fantastic questions today. I'll just echo, just as someone who grew up in this area, that 2 points. One, when you all talk about the infrastructure at Bell Road, I can't tell how many times I've driven Bell Road. One of the challenges for those that don't spend a lot of time in that area is Bell Road. When you get off I-24, there's actually a train track too that goes over the road, and so that's where traffic kind of just contracts in that area, and it's been like that for years and continues to be that way. So this is, even though there's certainly a lot of infrastructure that had to be done, this certainly will provide a lot of relief from Bell Road as well, which is just unsustainable with the amount of growth in that area. And then lastly, I guess more from a sentimental perspective, I can speak to, I might have shared this before, but I had my first job at Hickory Hollow Mall at Cinnabon. I will not say the year, but, and I spent, I spent a lot of years as president of my homeowners association as well. And one of the challenges during that particular time where there were a lot of retailers that were closing, there was nowhere to go. So if you really wanted to go to eat, your options were limited, and people went to Mount Juliet, to Providence, or they went to Smyrna, Expo Drive. So having this project here, it is a true need. There's a lot of growth in the area, and it certainly will allow, what's neat about this project too is, certainly allow people to work, eat, live, they'll have everything they need right there in close proximity. But this is a need, and, so it's good to bring the retail back to the community. A lot of people I've talked to are really excited about the project. So,
thank you.
With that said, we greatly appreciate you all coming today and not only talking about the CBIT, but giving us some background on the project and the history of it. So we look forward to hearing more and some updates. And maybe at some point, this board, if people are interested, we can set up some sort of tour. Obviously, this is a huge development, but maybe once it's finished, we can certainly, if people are interested, we can set up a tour to really see it and once it's finished. But I will say it's been a lot of progress over the last, I was telling Jeff before the meeting, I was over here a couple of weeks ago. It's amazing to see, the progress. Every time I go by, it's tangible progress that you can see. So anyway, we look forward to having you back, and we thank you all for your time. So thank you. With that, before we move on from this, Margaret, is there anything else that any other comments that you have on this, or anything that was not covered today related to this CBID that we need to cover today? I know it'll be up probably in October.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all for your comments, insightful comments and questions. With that, we will move to the next item on the agenda, approval of financial matters. Margaret Walker, is there anything that you have to tell us about our financial position today?
The only matter I have is just to report the September 15th fund balance, and that is $68,578.98. So just a small change from last month.
Can you say that one more time, please, Margaret?
Yes, $68,578.98. So we've really had no material change in our fund balance, just really some interest change.
Okay.
So
all right.
It's not changed materially.
All right. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Well, based on that, I want to thank everyone again for your patience. Last week's meeting was a pretty lengthy one, but I thank you again for all your insights and questions today. I want to thank the members again of the board, Metro Finance, Metro Legal, and representatives from Old Acre today for attending today's meeting. With there being no other business before us today, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, do we have a second? All right, second, Vice Chair. All those in favor? All right, thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Motion carried, meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.